Did you get stabbed? Impaled?
No.
Okay, well, I guess.
Oh, why'd you even go?
The sword started like $50, man. There we go.
I guess, so this should be, God dang it, why is it private?
I would have expected that from you. I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
It was right here.
Oh, no. Did you guys get logged into Google?
Yeah.
Yes, public. Done. No, you have to click done. 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 Save.
Save.
There you go.
Yippee!
Done. Okay, let me share. Did you send this into the Discord?
I have not yet.
Discord.
That one.
The successful folks.
Alright, are you good up here? Do you need anything else from me?
No.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, right now we're with this.
Nice.
What was that? What's that thumbs down for? It says crematorium brute.
Yeah. Do what? So the connection's breaking up, I can't hear you.
Going through a tunnel.
I haven't seen you in a while, too.
Yes.
How are you?
Doing good. Ready to do this shit.
Much has happened. Much has happened.
Mic. So this mic situation, just gonna have to be passing it around, I guess. Y'all, you and Kath will sit here. What we can do?
This webcam mic is. This webcam has a microphone.
Okay.
It's actually a very, very ambient microphone.
Okay.
So if you want,
Okay.
we could also connect that and set it down so it's like staring us in the face. But we don't have to. Certainly don't have to. Just an idea. Not sure the cable goes far enough anyways, but if it sat here and faced us, it would hear us and the meeting quite well.
Okay. Add audio source. Final Fantasy music. I love it.
I was shared the Final Fantasy 15 ending music by Julia this morning. The Stand By Me by something in the machine. Stand by me. It's so good. Yeah, I have two of the worst secrets on that.
I think.
And I know Final Fantasy 4 on launch. Final Fantasy 14 online fucked up.
I know.
This is the. I promise, this is the last.
They really, there's too many fantasies. No finality.
Okay.
How have you been, man? You're not here anymore, right? You're like, you are, but you're not. But after this semester, you're.
Brody. Which tab is the presentation on? Oh, it's over here. Never mind. I got it. It's on this screen, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
Everybody in the room. Everybody keep separate the room. Alright, we're ready to start. Okay, we're good. Out. 5 points for Alex.
Okay. Yes. That's a great question. Great question.
Come to the right.
You've come to the right place, my friend. Julian asked how you get an internship. Well, fellas and fellettes, we are going to talk about how to get an internship today. This was a suggestion post that I made last semester because the topic of career is something that is always present in all our minds as students. And while some of us are here in this club just to have fun and make cool games with friends, some of us also want to maybe think about working in this industry. So today what we have here, this is called the internship game, or how to play the internship game, because most things you can it's a system and you can gain this, you can learn how to play it well and get results that you want. With me here, so I'm Tony, for those of you who don't know. Everybody, I guess. I was an intern at EA last summer, and I am interning with Microsoft this summer. Next to me is Kat. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello. Hello. Okay. Hi, I'm Kath. I'm a fourth year comp sci major here, and I've interned at EA twice. First time at sophomore year summer, and then last summer as well. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm Michael, and I'm interning for the first time this coming summer at JP Morgan Chase in Tampa. JP Morgan Chase, for those who don't know, is a big bank. A big bank. It is one of the biggest banks. And it is a software engineering internship. Yes. Yeah, so while it is not a game company per se, there's still a lot of crossover in how to, and sway internships and getting that, and still a lot of similar things. So Michael doesn't experience with Blizzard, and they cried, right? And Kath, what exactly did you do at EA?
Yeah, I forgot to say. Both times I was a software engineer intern.
Her presentations were cool. By the way, I'm a marketing major, and my internship at EA was marketing in nature. It was brand management. I worked on Battlefield 2042. I worked with our brand marketing team, and my internship with Microsoft is also going to be marketing focused. Computer science, some marketing, we're missing art and some design, but I think what we're going to talk about is applicable to many things. So the way that we're going to break it up is, in my mind, how you would do a game: pre-production, production, post-production, and you'll see how these things normally go. Then all the work, most of the work, is going to come in your pre-production, in your preparation for applying to these things. So first, with application materials, a quick note. So talking about your resume. So I use my resume as an example. Your resume may not look like this. It probably shouldn't look like this. This resume is like the Warrington College of Business format. It's a factory. You always have it be the same way. But the important points that you need to know when you're writing your resume is that you want to have consistent formatting, and whatever formatting you choose, it has to be throughout the whole thing. When people look at your resume, they'll look at it for an average of about 8 before they put it down and move on to the next, or it'll just go through some software. But if there's any glaring things like, the spacing is different throughout the whole thing, it's just going to look unprofessional. They're going to toss it to the pile that you don't want to be in. Pithy meaning consistent, not consistent, but concise and short to the point with what it is that you're saying. And a smart use of buzzwords and industry jargon. This bullet point down here, that's one of my experiences with EA. There's action verbs that you want to use. You want to start with something like developed. Something that's action, something you did, implemented, strategy, things like that. These are things that marketing recruiters will look out for. So that's what I'm putting on there. But if you're doing something for computer science or art, you're going to want to be aware of the words that you should use. You guys, how do you go about making your resumes, and is it an important part of what you think your application is?
I'll go first. Well, for me, I'll say I don't think my resume is like the best out there, but I think one thing is to have projects that are relevant to whatever role you're applying for on there, and also resume isn't like a one size fits all thing. You can change it a little bit, tweak it a little bit to fit whatever specific role or to what company you're applying to make it, like, I guess, more targeted to that company, and they'll see that you put in the effort, like, hey, you really want to work at this company. I don't know what else to say here.
That's fair. Starting a resume, I think, is a really time-consuming process, though. So that's worth noting. Like, if you're in the world of CS right now, it's really competitive. So you can end up blanket applying, and targeting a resume is difficult unless it's a company you really care about, like a really like Epic Games or something, whatever. Somewhere it's important to you. For me, my resume, one of the key things I think that I did that's worth mentioning, like as far as applicable details. My overall GPA, because of the business classes that I took with Tony, isn't one that I'm proud of, but my CS GPA I'm proud of. So I talk about the CS GPA, for example, and that's something that you can do. In the world of CS, they don't really care what your GPA is anyways, as long as it's above like a 3.6 or 3.5 or something. It's like they don't even bat an eye. That's one sentiment. The other one, I like to underline all the little like key software that comes up, because in the world of CS, they do get excited if, for whatever reason, the stuff that you have experience in, apps, programs, packages, whatever, is the same stuff that the company is using. So JP Morgan uses Java and Spring Boot, which I use none of. So it didn't show up on my resume. But like Blizzard, I'm sure, saw like HLSL and was like, oh, he does shaders. And then they gave me like a shader thing. So, yeah, that's another sentiment. And finally, there's free websites. So already your resume might get looked at by AI these days. There's free websites that have an AI look at your resume. By free, I mean freemium, but they give you like a week-long free trial. So swipe, put your resume in. There's a handful of them. They'll be like, oh, these bullet points, you missed a period here. You should quantify these bullet points. You have 3 unquantified bullet points. Have a number in there. It's not just I developed and implemented. It's my strategy increased sales by 15%. Stuff like that. And that's really good. There's free websites. That's a piece of advice as well.
Add something more that's hopefully more applicable to like any role and not just CS. But usually you want to keep your resume to just 1 page. Mm-hmm. If you have like 2 pages, or God forbid 3, I don't think recruiters will have the time to look through all of that.
To justify 2 pages.
Yeah.
None of us have it.
Well, yeah, but and also ask people to review your resume all the time. Get as many feedback from different people as you can, from like your peers, your professors, even recruiters if you can. I think that's been really, really helpful. Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. So next, cover letter is typically part of an application. Cover letters are typically most of the time will be optional and not required. So we won't spend too much time on this one, but at least for me, every time that I've seen an application accepting a cover letter, I always put in a cover letter if it's optional, just because it's like just another opportunity for you to sell yourself. It's like a resume, but you're telling like a narrative, and so this is where you're going to flex your storytelling muscle a little bit and push yourself across. But if it's no cover letter, do not submit a cover letter, because that shows that you can't read directions, or that you don't want to read directions. And I don't think any of us have portfolios, but portfolios are we have portfolio work, possibly, but like we haven't put together a portfolio, and none of the things that we applied to needed a portfolio. But some of the things you guys probably will. So I asked our Discord that I'm in with former EA interns that Kath and I are in, and I was like, hey, I would love portfolio advice, and I have 2 slides here, and we'll show these slides afterwards, by the way. One slide here, one slide here, with 2 people who, how they put their portfolios together and some advice, and in some summary points out here, quality over quantity. This girl, Kelly, only had like 2 projects in her portfolio, but they were extremely deep, and she went into a lot of detail on all of them. Don't worry about where it's hosted, that's not really that important, just pick what works for you. Your rationale, your failures, learnings, journey, that's the real meat of your portfolio, not necessarily just the work that you're showing. And then look for example of people that are in similar disciplines to you, because depending on what exactly you're going for, character art, 3D modeling, technical art, the portfolios all differ in those ways. So look for examples that are from the similar disciplines that you are in, and use just basic good design principles. Where good design won't push you over the top, but if bad design, like clashing colors or something like that, that will detract from it will distract from the what you're putting out there, especially if you're going for an art or design role. You don't want to show that you're not you don't want to put your bad design out there. Or anything you guys have to say about portfolios?
Well, I guess you can also, if you have the time, tailor it to the position you're applying for. So like if you have stuff, I guess this is more arts related, but like say if you have done like character art, environment art as well, but like usually those are like separate roles that you apply to. You can just only put the projects on your portfolio that's relevant to what you're applying to, and show your best work. Yeah.
The only sentiment that I have here, I haven't put together a portfolio before, but when it comes to like trying to show off yourself in all of these things, and I guess less so the resume, because the resume, it's a list. The resume is a list. There might be like 5, 10 important things on the resume, but the portfolio is like, let me leave my stamp as an artist or whatever. I think an attempt to go just slightly above and beyond in some way would be really good. So any of those resources I saw, the previous slide I think recommended, like Webflow or like low code applications like Wix, wherever you host your like stuff. It's on a website, it might be on ArtStation. Like 90% of artists are probably posting images, maybe some of them are posting videos. If you want to be really, really cool, take your 3D model, and upload it to like oh god, what's that one website that Epic Games bought recently? Like it's not like Tinkercad, it's something like that. No, they own ArtStation, but they own the 3D model sharing site. That's whatever. Just like upload it to one of those sites that has like the turntable thing, because specifically that applies to 3D artists. But like having something interactive in 3D, ArtStation lets you host this. Wix, it's just like it's like embedding a YouTube video. It's like a little interactive, JavaScript thingy. It's easy to do, and it lets them literally investigate your art. I mean, you can really make something interactive. We did an augmented reality tutorial in this club like a year ago for Valentine's Day, a year ago almost today, and you could also throw like a little QR thing for them to do augmented reality off of their monitor. Like, it's not that hard to do something that stands out a little bit, and I think when it comes to portfolios, trying to stand out like that is really special. That's my 2 cents.
That's well said. So here I pulled up in these slides when I show them, some of these pictures have links on them. So like I linked the portfolios of both of these individuals that I asked for advice from. You can see this is Kelly's 2 case studies here, and this is what she has for just one case study, or an overview of what she did. Initial assumptions, the issue that she's going after, what exactly she's solving for. She has GIFs that are embedded, some rich media there, plenty of pictures, and just really she goes deep into all different approaches that she took. So if you want to show like all the different like iterations that you did, why you did the iterations, what were behind each one. Show your argument, and then here, and then she has look at this. this is like a before and after slider.
This is a good example of
Yeah.
a little slightly going beyond interactive tidbit.
Mhm.
Stuff like this, I think, really makes a portfolio pop.
Yes. There you go. And then a video here that kind of sums up what she did. Okay. Now, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important to varying degrees. To me, it is one of the most important tools that I've used in my internship search. Michael, not so much. It's I'll give my 2 cents and everybody else will give theirs. But your LinkedIn it's like a mix of your resume, it's a mix of your cover letter, it's a portfolio, it's a personal website, but it's a lot more discoverable than just having a normal website. And when you're making your LinkedIn, make sure all those principles that we talked about with like your portfolio, your resume, your cover letter applies here, and probably even more so because this is where recruiters are actively looking for things. So you want your picture to be, you want your picture and your banner in the background to fit who you are and who you want to be. So Michael, his picture down at the bottom, he wants to be, casual, friendly, approachable. My picture, I want to be a corporate salad, so I put a picture of us in a suit there. So I'm just joking. But LinkedIn is also a news feed, a job board. Obviously, it's a social media. So it's a wide. There are a lot of breadth of tools there for you to play with, and the more you put like keywords into your LinkedIn, the more you'll come up in people's searches, and you'll get that feedback from LinkedIn. Like every week, you'll get like a report on like, oh, you showed up in X amount of searches, and then it'll show you. And I think this is free. Like it'll show you like the terms that people used that people used when they were looking that made you show up on that search. So you definitely want to be thinking SEO, search engine optimization, when you're putting together your LinkedIn. And I'll go. I put links on each of our pictures for our LinkedIn's as well. So I'll like go around on LinkedIn. Would you like to add something here?
Well, I don't use LinkedIn that much, to be honest. I mainly use it to keep in touch with like my managers from my past internships, but which I think is also a good thing to like stay connected to recruiters. If you get an internship, good job. Keep in contact with the people you meet there. I think it's very good to do that. Do you have anything to add?
I think we're going to get to this in a minute. I didn't have a chance to look at this PowerPoint yet, Tony, but on like outreach, I think LinkedIn's great for like outreach. But I'm personally more, I guess, cynical about like LinkedIn. I don't like posting on it very much. I don't like reading other people's posts. I find them like fake and problematic. But that's just me. Like it's like I think a lot of people think that. I don't know. Yeah. And as for my banner, it used to be cooler like Tony's. It used to be an environment that I made, but then my parents told me that it looks childish and I gave in. So
My banner is my wallpaper on my laptop. I went to a LinkedIn review and they're like, oh, did you make that? I said, no. Like, oh, you should? No.
I'm sure Smallpack's going to copy some graphics.
Oh. Is Smallpack So let's try LinkedIn. Here's a tool that we would like to. Oh no, we have to sign in. Okay, so you can. So when you're on LinkedIn, there's a search bar. You search for people, you search for companies, you search for whatever. This next slide that we're going to be talking about is outreach. Outreach. The best way to look and reach out to people is by finding connections that you have on things that you to see that they have done in their past. And a great way to do this that you can use is the fact that you are a student at UF. There are many people who have gone to UF that are out in the gaming industry and many other industries. So how you find these people is you can look up a company like EA, for example. You go to EA, you go to their company page. They will have, you scroll down a little bit, a people tab of people who are on LinkedIn that have EA on their page. You can filter people by school that they've gone to, and you can just pull up, okay, EA, people who've gone to UF that work at EA. And here I have two examples of, the one on the left is Michael reaching out to somebody, and the one on the right is me reaching out to somebody. I reached out to this person, Lauren, on LinkedIn using the same technique that I just told you guys about. And when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, you can add a note, and you have 300 characters to introduce yourself to them and try to make yourself like somebody worth reaching out to. And but that's fine. You want to be pretty short and concise anyway. So the format that I use when I reach out to somebody is just a quick intro about myself and the I have. So she's a UF alum, so I say, hi, I'm from the University of Florida. Why you're reaching out, and make sure that you're not asking directly for a job. Do not ask for a job directly. Like some people will be fine with you asking that, and they'll acknowledge, yeah, you're a student. It makes sense. But most people, it's just better on a blanket level to not ask for it. You're trying to make connections, get to know people. You don't want to be like begging right off the bat. And then at the end, always thank them. Thank them. You always want to be thanking everybody for their time, because ultimately, if they reach back out to you, then that's like a favor, a service that they're doing for you. Michael, do you want to talk about how this outreach that you did here?
Yeah, so this is really important, particularly in our very competitive world of computer science. A good place to go and look about how competitive application process is and like learn about the application process is r/CS career questions or r/CS majors. Those people or CS graduates. r/CS graduates, there's recruiters on there that like talk about how comically difficult the recruiting situation is. They're like, yeah, we got 5,000 applications on the first day, so we only kept the ones that had referrals, and we threw out all the other ones because that's all we know, and that left behind like 200 of them, and so it's that bad. It really is that bad. You got to be kind of cynical about the process, unfortunately. Outreach like this is critical. It's absolutely critical. You're not looking for a job. In fact, the person doesn't have to be a recruiter at all. They just have to be someone that you have some amount of connection with, and you can do that by filtering by people who went to UF. LinkedIn in the search function lets you filter. So you just look up software engineer, filter by went to UF, and then you like filter the couple of companies that you're interested in: SpaceX, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, whatever. And then you send them a message. You'll notice something. Tony's is, I think, either 280 or 300 characters. Tony is fitting it inside of LinkedIn's connection limit. So when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, it lets you leave them a message. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have 6 months of free LinkedIn Premium. So,
Not anymore, actually.
Not anymore? No. Well, anyways, LinkedIn Premium, I turned on right before the application season. I got my little 6-month trial. There's still a 1-month free trial. So you can utilize it if you want, and it lets you send out up to like 3 cold messages a month of unlimited length that don't have like a character limit to people that you haven't connected to. So that's how I sent my longer message. That message, pretty much that framework for a message with some slight variations in it, had like a 3 out of 5 success rate, roughly. Like I got 3 responses, and converted one of them to a, God, it sounds terrible. I'm not like some manipulative, evil, like little, referral hunting person, but it's kind of like that. It just is kind of like that. So I found a guy that was really, really awesome, and ended up getting a call with him, and he offered to refer me to Microsoft. Unfortunately, that didn't fall through. Not the same luck for CS majors this year, but and then Kim Ziri here, I think, helped me with Amazon. The best part about this, with one more thing, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. I hope it's okay. When you do get into the call with them, I mean, is there more stuff on cold outreach like the? Okay, this is really important. When you gotta be like human when you get into the call with them. You're not looking for a referral. In fact, literally get into the it's very important that you have a little call to action. I say, would it be possible to have a quick chat this coming week? That creates a bit of urgency that they're going to in the next week. And if they feel bad if they read the message late. So say they read the message like 4 days from then, and half of the week is over, they're like, oh no, he wanted to talk to me this week, let me propose a time. Rather than just leaving the conversation cold and having to ask for that call later on in the conversation with them. That's number one. Number two is forget the referral, and when you get into that call, completely forget the referral and actually talk to them about what you said you're going to talk to them about. You're not looking for a referral, you're looking to learn about what it's like at Microsoft. What technologies do they use? What's it like at EA? What am I actually going to be doing in my day-to-day? There's a pretty good list of generic questions that you can ask and you can actually genuinely learn from. These people are people, you're not trying to like use them. Chances are, if you've been an interesting enough kid, they'll literally, like, I didn't ask the micro, he was just like, dude, honestly, I'd love to refer you. I was like, okay, cool. And that's what you do. That's what you do. You do not need to be, you don't need to ask. You can kind of twist the conversation in that direction. You can be like, man, I was looking at r/CS majors this week, and I saw some recruiter talking about how they dumped 5,000 resumes that didn't have referrals, and he's just like, wow, that's terrible. Let me help you. So, like, you know, you can kind of twist things a little bit. That's terrible. This is gonna be on YouTube. God, but I mean, like. I'll say this, one of my friends at Duke, other universities have alumni networks that are rich. UF does not have that. At Duke, they have an alumni directory, all current students have access, and what that alumni directory does is it lets current students see a list of all alumni who have gone into their emails and check the box that says, contact me, I will help you get into like a career. That's beautiful. So like every Duke student can look at this giant list of like rich, successful people and exclusively I'm sorry? We're not talking about Duke, but the point is that you shouldn't feel bad about utilizing like these resources. A friend of mine from Duke put me in touch with a woman that worked at Amazon, and she hates this idea of referrals so much that she's undermining the system by giving out referrals to everyone. I'm not kidding, that was her like whole philosophy, and it was incredible. Really kind person, I'm still friends with her, we talk on Discord, it's great. So like, try to make friends out of these people. They're good people, they're new graduates, they just graduated 4 or 5 years ago, just like you will be in like 3-4 years, and they're just trying to help, you know, so I don't know, that was a bit of a ramble, but it was insightful.
I don't have much to say. I did not do any LinkedIn cold outreach because I am a socially awkward and anxious introverted being. But I did do, I guess, one outreach. It was when I was in sophomore, and I was like, I saw EA had an opening, and one of my TA, like a TA for one of my classes, interned at EA. So I thought, oh, that's cool. So I reached out to her, and like, hey, do you mind like hopping on a Zoom call just to talk about your internship experience and like what the interview or recruiting process was like? And yeah, that's all I have to say.
The good news for all socially awkward people is that if you reach out to recruiters are probably the easiest people to reach out to because they want you to reach out to them. Like their whole job is to fill their jobs. You know, so they want somebody who is talented and somebody who is willing to put themselves out there to fall on their lap so that they can just easily push you through their pipeline and get into a role. And yeah, a lot of what Michael was saying is true. It's just so there's so many. You know, I actually reference our CS majors later on in here. You know, this is a really, really important part of the process, obviously for some more than others, but this does not hurt to do. In the business school, they always like to say you're building your bench of advocates. You want to have people within the companies, whatever companies you're applying to, that have some sense of who you are. The more of your face, the more of your personality that you get, then the better that is for you to just simply get them through the door. Because getting an interview itself is such a difficult thing to do with how many people apply to these things. So the more of yourself you get out there, the much better you will do. And then along with like general company research, you want to ask questions. There's so many companies out there to apply for. You want to like kind of narrow it down for yourself and ask questions like, what companies are the roles that you want? Because you could want to apply to X company like Insomniac. I want to apply to Insomniac because I love Insomniac, but they didn't have any things I wanted, so I'd cut them out of like my search. Didn't want to waste my time over there. When do companies post applications? I mean, it's recruiting season probably in the fall. Will start like late August, early September. It differs on some companies, but that's generally when it is. Spring recruiting season is still in full gear, and just because these things start at certain times, many people apply. You're never really out of time unless you're out of time. So if you're still looking for a summer internship, like it's still very new. So I got my EA internship in April of last year. Yeah, yeah. For summer 23, we got in April. So it's still to go out there. What are they looking for? So make sure that you're applying to the basic applications, like what year you're in. PlayStation, I want to apply to PlayStation. As a sophomore, they only wanted juniors. Okay, I guess I can apply there. The degree that you're going after, the skill that you want, etc. Do they look like a company worth giving your time to? If they, there are some companies that may have, sketchy pasts with how they treat their employees, especially with smaller companies. So you want to look out for that. And other alums that you can reach out to and do the kind of cold outreach that we were doing. So, just as an example here, I'm using EA because what I'm most familiar with. EA has an intern grad site, and you can go and here you can like filter by like their intern category, and like have like 44 intern positions to apply for. So three pages of the 44 positions. Yeah. So I think I applied to a few of these and I didn't get it, actually, funnily enough. And so that's basically the kind of things you want to do. And obviously, Kath and I are right here, right? You know us. We are alum that interned at EA, and we can always answer questions about that specific company that you may have. Anything about any short thoughts on company research? Do it.
I was gonna say the exact opposite. in CS, it's so not important. It's man, you blanket like 30 companies. It's like, can you code? Okay. It's different. It's a different world. In game dev, maybe not as much. In business, definitely not the case. You have a serious interview of character and questions and stuff. Sorry, I don't know how much of that was being picked up. I was going to say that it doesn't matter as much in CS. Like the letter as well. Started. Yeah. So it's just you gotta. Play the game for the career that you're going for. My sentiments are almost exclusively true to CS and a little bit to game dev. Everything else, I think it does matter that you research the company. But yeah.
That's what it is here. So that there's just major poison in the minds of these people. All right, so the production phase, actually applying, and I think there's three main buckets that this process kind of goes into. The application process itself. Michael and Kath talked about this earlier, but you want to have, to a certain extent, personalized materials that you want to be sent to these companies, and really the way that I go about it, that I've gone about it, is I always look at the job description, and I have my resume on the side, kind of like my master copy template of my resume, and I just look for key skills that they put out and think about how, what I've done in the past, and then put that on my resume. And almost, in some cases, even copying and pasting specific terms that they use on the job description into my resume, so that comes up. Their control, I think if there's a software that's going through it, they're going to see the exact terms that they use on the job description in my resume. It is super time consuming. If you're blanketing and doing a bunch of things, if you're in CS, it's gonna, sometimes you're not gonna do that. But I know for me, for the times that I've applied and actually put the time into personalizing my stuff, then it actually paid off really well, and I didn't just get an auto rejection on the way out. And if you've been building your network of people that that you've been reaching out to, alumni that work at these companies, make sure to reach out to them and let them know, hey, I applied to the position, this is the requisition number that I applied to, it's like an ID for like the specific role. I applied to this thing, just letting you know, and now that they know, and if they like you, which probably they do because you're reaching out to them and you're a good, you're a good person, you're nice, you made a good impression, then they'll probably take an interest. And if you have that person on the inside, sometimes you can even get like an update on how you're doing, and they can even fix mistakes with you. Fun story about my application to Microsoft: I accidentally put like the wrong graduation year on my application, so I got like auto rejected. I reached out to this guy that referred me within Microsoft, and he said, "Oh, that's weird. I'll forward this. I'll talk to the recruiting team." Or they found out what happened. They put in like a work order for it, like a ticket, and they got it fixed. I moved on to the rest of the process and got it. So that's why it's good to reach out. And interviewing, let me skip that. The follow up after you do your interview, small thing. Send a thank you note to whoever it was, your recruiter, whoever. It helps you stand out. You get your last word in. I'm super excited to, thank you for the opportunity. I'm super excited for this. My X, Y, and Z that I've done in the past, I think will make me a great fit. So forth. So that's like a small thing that you can do afterwards. Don't skip out on that. I rushed over that because I think the interview part is. There's a lot of important things to talk about there that I can talk about, but before I do, anything that you guys have to add to anything, interview, follow-up, anything related?
I'd say send the thank you note even if you fail. That's a big one. Yeah. She said always. Always.
All your interviews.
Yeah. Admittedly, that's not something that I've been perfectly on top of with, I guess interviews. Well, the reality is I got very few interviews, and the interviews were never too personal. Sometimes they're outsourced to third parties because that's just how CS works sometimes, especially in the early stage interviews. Like, it's like technical one, interview, technical again, later like personality interview. There's really a sequence, and in those early ones, it doesn't get personal. So like you don't really send a thank you letter to the nerd that they outsourced from like somewhere else but anyways, that thank you letter is really important because if you do fail, or you just send updates even to the person that referred you, like, oh, I got the interview today. Oh, I failed the interview, but thank you so much. It means that you can probably go back to that person next internship season. And that's really valuable. Like I at this internship season, I applied too late for Microsoft and Amazon. And Google, their doors already closed, but I had referrals. I got a referral to Palantir as well, which I really want to work there. And I've been staying in touch with the people that referred me, and I was like very grateful to them. And I keep them posted about little random happenings in my life. I tell them Happy New Year sometimes, and like we catch up. And that's it, turning them into friends. And it's like genuinely people that are really cool. Again, they're only like 3 or 4 years older than us. They might as well be friends. So yeah, that's something that's valuable. I think that's really valuable, especially if make it authentic. Like be authentic. I'm not using these people. I'm not.
I mean, it's just the polite thing to do, really. Just don't. Yeah, be nice, be courteous. They took out their time to interview you or whatnot, and yeah, just thank them. They'll appreciate it.
Yes, well said. Everything. Even if at any point in your process with the company, whether you get an interview and you do well, get an interview, you bomb it, which will happen. That's happened to me. Or don't even get an interview. Always be courteous. Always, you are. Most of the time, like you get at a certain level in the application process, if you get far enough, the things that separate the people who get it and those who don't is really has to do with they're fine lines between you and who gets it and who doesn't. So being showing that you're a good person to work with, that'll put you definitely on the curve next internship season with interviews. These 3 things are super important, and the internships that I got, I spent like days doing these things, and like I was studying for the most important exam of my life. Study the role and everything about it. Not you want to know the job description. like the back of your hand. You want to know exactly what they're looking for. You want to know exactly, you want to know exactly, not just like what's on the paper, but why they're looking for what they're looking for. Know the role. And I like when I was going for our brand management internship at EA, like I learned everything that I could about what a brand manager is, what they do, why they have to do what they do, etc. You want to know that. You want to be as much of an expert in that as possible. When you're interviewing is, in my case, I don't know, obviously I'm in this interview, but there's either behavioral ones or technical ones. And in behavioral ones, which are most of the ones that I've done, it's question, answer. And the answers that you're giving, they are stories. You are telling stories to these people. You are taking the stuff they have on your resume, and you're making a story about it. And you want your story to lead you up to the point where you are interviewing with them and you are about to work for their company. You want it to seem like it was destiny that you're here, and like everything that you've done is leading up to the point where you are now in this position talking to that person. There's something called the STAR method. There's many different methods on how you can answer resume questions, interview questions. But at the end of the day, it's I did this. This was the results. This is what I learned from it, and I am now a better person because of this. And I'm always improving on what I'm doing. And the last bullet point: don't skip out on your questions. At the end of an interview, they will ask you, "Do you have any questions for me?" The worst thing that you can say is no. If you don't have any questions, that means you're not interested in the role enough to you don't know everything about the position, you know everything about the company. There is something that you must ask. So have like really good questions about the company, about the role that you can ask and wow them. Like I always try to go for like, if they say that's a really good question, then I think that's like a really good indicator that you're like top of mind for these people when you're going up. So when in my EA interview, I knew that I didn't know exactly that I was interviewing to be on the Battlefield team, but they said, have some sort of interest or knowledge of first-person shooters. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna make a question about Battlefield, and since it's about brand and things like that, I basically asked, you guys, Battlefield 2042 went away from the class system. Why did you make the decision, or how do you come to that decision to change up a core part of Battlefield while still making it feel like the Battlefield brand? And that's a question that ties into like what they're doing, what I'm going to do. It shows that you're thinking about what you're going to be doing, and that you're already in that position. So your questions are super important. I think that separates you in at least a behavioral interview or any type of interview. Anything you guys want to say about interviews? Any short comment? No? Okay.
Well, I don't know if this is a bit stalkish, but I like to look up, like, if I can get the names of my interviewers, try to look them up on LinkedIn just to see like what they've worked on, like their background. If there's anything interesting that they've done, like I can bring it up. Yeah.
That's a good point. Just hand in a hoodie on a rainy day in their car.
Yeah. I see on
Interesting. I hear you like your coffee hot. Anyways, no, I've been pretty terrible in asking good questions in my interviews. And in the interviews, usually in CS, the behavioral interview is like either the first one or the last one. When it was the first one, I like didn't really ask good questions. I just kind of like stumbled, and I was like, so what framework do you guys use? They were both front-end engineers. So it was like, what the people interviewing me were at the company, they weren't just recruiters. So it was like, okay, you guys do front-end. What framework do you use? And they were like, oh, Angular. And so we talked about that for a second. In other cases in CS, the behavioral interview was literally like all of 45 seconds. Like it was at the beginning of the technical interview. The guy that was going to conduct the technical interview was like, before we begin, like, tell me about your projects for a second. And I was like, okay, I rambled a bit about the Develop website and like Next.js a bit. And the guy was like, and why did you use Next.js? And like it became technical, even though it was behavioral, and he was like kind of engaged with my projects. It got technical, and like I was like, oh, so, front end like server side rendering and cache the pages. And he's like, and I wonder if you can tell me what technology is that? He was like shocked that I knew what partial hydration was, which is like a pretty like important thing in front end engineering, I guess. And so he was like, wow, like you really know your technology. And I was amused by that. Like I don't know, it's a pretty common term. Like if you watch like popular YouTubers in CS, that's, I don't know. So anyways, I guess I don't really have a good point there. My point is that in behavioral interviews, like sometimes it gets more technical than behavioral, and that they don't even seem to care that much about like some of the behavioral elements, assuming that you've done your job. Like if you don't ask an incredible set of questions, as long as you just act authentic, I guess, and like playful. I don't know. Like the same demeanor with which I speak before you today is the demeanor that I present in an interview. It's pretty like, yeah, yes. No, not to piss your pants during a technical interview. That's it. Oh my god. Jesus, Nathan. All right, yeah. How not to piss your pants during a behavioral interview? I get pretty nervous. Like, and that shows in my like fidgety mannerisms. But I think the moment that I start telling my first story response to a question, I try to like really focus on the story, and that calms me down. Just like, I don't know, I end up reflecting more on elements of my life. I feel like you probably have a response to that, Tony.
Practice. Yeah. Do mock interviews. Do a lot of them. Do it with your friends. Do it with career coaches. Nothing. You're always going to be nervous when you're walking into an interview, especially if it's a company that you really love and you really want to work for. You know, I mean, I was so nervous like about like EA that I pretty much did a full body workout before my interview, and I was all sweaty like when I went into my first interview. But if you, when Michael's right, like if you practice a lot answering these questions, because you know there are questions that are going to repeat, and similar types of questions that are going to repeat that they're going to ask you. So you have a pretty good idea of the types of questions that you will get, and even if it's a question you've never heard before, you're going to be able to know how to adapt your answer to one of them. You know, so once you start getting into it, and if you practice a lot, then it's going to be just quarterback. You know, just like you've done it before, just like practice, except you're just somebody, and you can't don't let the name value, don't let somebody, if you're on their Zoom application, be like, you know, their name and the EA next to their name, you know, like you can't let them get to you.
I have a really small tip that I think practice for me personally, like not only did I not, you know, practice too much, but it doesn't work super well for me because it's not as scary as the real thing. Like if Nathan was interviewing me right now, I would not take it seriously. Like I wouldn't take it as seriously as, you know, like knowing that it's the EA guy or the Blizzard guy. But what you can do is, if you have a friend in the CS world and they're doing an interview that day and you know they're going to be on Zoom or they're going to be on a phone call, go to their place and listen in. It might break some Florida legislature somewhere, some two-party consent rules maybe, I don't know. But that actually, I had the privilege of listening in on a like phone call that my friend was doing with a guy from like Microsoft, and frankly, I was right there, like telling him, like to say this, ask about this, like because he didn't know what to ask about, and it really helped my confidence in some moments there, because I saw what it was like for other people, I saw what it was like firsthand, and God, that really helps. If you can like find a friend that is going to do some phone interview, you know, something that's not their like main interview, maybe. I have a note about that. It was really nice.
Now you want to be careful doing that, because a lot of companies will make applicants interview NDAs. So just be careful with just be careful if you do sign an interview NDA. You know, make sure it's someone you trust. And then, okay, yeah, you're going to repeat this for every company that you're targeting, just like this process is going to go through. Some will end at the application stage, some will end at the interview stage, some will go all the way through your follow-up. Well, you're always going to follow up, whatever it is, but, you know, that's like the basic thing. All right, now what? Okay. So, if you got an offer, you want to work there, you sent an offer, congratulations. You did it. You just won the game, high score. If you didn't, then some of these points are going to apply more to that. But after any situation, create like a sort of after-action report, either in paper or in your head. What went well, how can you improve? You always want to look to improve. What could you have done better to in the future to either keep succeeding or get over the hump that you're going through that you couldn't get over this time. If you have mentors or advisors, talk to them, debrief, hear what they have to say. Talk to a career coach at the Career Connection Center. If you have somebody like that, go hear your friends even hear what they have to say. One of us. You can reach out to the recruiter and ask for any advice. If you didn't get in, ask for any advice that they have, or how. A good question to ask: how can I improve myself to be something that EA is looking for, or how what do you think EA is looking for that I could improve to keep going? Sometimes I have an answer for you if they're like a more technical interviews, and sometimes they're not working in the space that you're looking for, so maybe they won't have good pointed responses for you. But the most important thing here is to take it one at a time, and don't let on one interview or one application affect how you go into the other, because you can have vastly different performances from one to another. When I interviewed for Microsoft, I actually had 2 interviews with 2 companies that day, Microsoft and another one. And Microsoft had 3 1-hour interviews back to back, and I thought I did really well. I was super stoked about that. But the next interview didn't do so great. I didn't get to talk about got into Microsoft. So it doesn't. Sometimes sometimes things happen. Sometimes you never know. You get the yips in some cases. Sometimes you're going off something else. Don't necessarily think that one failure or success is like an overall trend. Analyze what you did there, how that went, and see what good lessons you can take from that. I'm just keep going because we're running low on time. One note about big games and big companies. It's really hard to get in there, and this is r/Soldiers post talking about FANG, the FANG companies. The acronym is different because they're different company names, but Facebook, Amazon, what was the other one? Apple, Netflix, Google, things like that. If it's okay to get your dream job after college, okay? The whole point of what we're doing here, get started with experience and get connections, we're only in our early 20s. Some of us might even still be teenagers. So, don't, look at that teenager right over there. You're doing good. Getting a head start. Don't sweat too much over competing with tens of thousands of people all across the country who have different backgrounds and different stories than you do. Don't worry about getting some fancy schmancy lucrative job after you graduate. We've had guest speakers that Prof was a guest speaker. They work at Bungie now, but they got to start working in mobile games. That's not where you start; it's about where you finish. Okay, we're right at time, so I don't know how long people want to stay for Q&A, but I will say at the end of this, I have some resources here that you can go through. These are people that I follow on LinkedIn. These are recruiters and stuff. I linked company career pages that I have bookmarked on my browser at all times. I just always search and have them there and always reference them. Some things lead right to the interns section. Others you have to kind of click through and get the student section yourself. But yeah, follow people and pages on LinkedIn. I also have pages I follow here on LinkedIn. But yeah, any questions? Any questions at all? Yes.
For cover letters, I wouldn't talk about that much, and it depends on. Well, my question is, do you think we should be more personal in the cover letter, or talk more about things that we've done that relate technically?
Yeah, so the kind of format that I follow in my cover letter is my first paragraph it starts off with something personal, like my motivation for being, for wanting to work in this industry or in this job, and then the technical aspects that I do kind of reinforce why I want to be in this industry, be in this job. So like, I mean, I can share my cover letter with you if you want. You can read it, but it's it's also short, one page. Short. Don't make it any longer than that. Mine has 4 paragraphs, one like an introductory paragraph, and then like 2 paragraphs that touch on like different experiences. So like I'll have a paragraph on DevOps and a paragraph on another org that I'm a part of, a paragraph on DevOps and one on EA or something like that. And it's a mix of both, but you do want to have the technical evidence to support the fact that you have this ambition and that you are striving for this ambition through the things that you have done in the past.
Generally, in the world of CS, from what I remember with my applications, they give you long, wordy places to talk about your technical things. In fact, that was so common in my applications. So you have your resume, right? And in your resume, you have like a project. Maybe that project has 3 bullets, and each bullet is like a sentence with like 20 words. The website will then have a fat text box for you to talk about your individual work experiences. And it was so common to see that I got to the point where I made a Google Doc so that I would have these pre-prepared paragraphs to copy paste in there. That was my technical cover letter. Your cover letter is, I think, almost exclusively personal and about how you relate to the company, in my opinion.
The single cover letter. One of the letters, most of the people have prompts. Answer the questions in the prompt. And also, question.
Yeah, so for when you did your outreach with EA, was that successful and led up to your EA internship?
Yeah, so this woman, Laura, that I reached out to, she was not a recruiter, she works in HR. And she got back to me that this is